Hello friends, let us see today how we can paint the ASHTA VINAYAK in pen and wash. It means we will make use of watercolor washes, allow them to dry after they freely mix into one another, and then make use of the waterproof black ink pen and draw over them some necessary lines so that they look fresh and beautiful. To begin with, I loosely sketch some of, rather all these 8 Ganeshas, which are called as the Ashta Vinayak, the Ganpatis of different pilgrim places in India. Like one is Ozar, the other one is at Siddhatek, then one is at Mahad, Theur, Lenyadri, Morgaon, Ranjangaon, and Pali. So these are the 8 Ganeshas which are of importance and they are collectively known as the Ashtavinayak. So I've made a light pencil sketches of each of them from some reference photographs. And interestingly, these are not very detailed idols. They are rather very odd kind of shapes which look like Ganeshas, but they are all the same very interesting. In the center, I have placed some masking tape which I have fixed, and on moving all those washes over and allowing them to dry, and on completion I will remove this and write something. To begin with, I am going to take some masking fluid, which is a white liquid which masks areas in advance and allows you to go over them keeping the paper as it is. So with an old discarded brush, I just put some marks here and there. First, the tilak or the religious forehead mark on each of the Ganeshas. The masking fluid will definitely ruin your brush. So the best way is to make use of an old brush which you can afford to throw away. Now, having done the tilaks or the religious forehead marks, I add some highlight spots on some areas which in light are supposed to sort of shine. It will take some time for the masking fluid to completely dry, but never be in a haste to start your painting till you ensure that the masking fluid has been completely dried. Now, while this masking fluid dries, I prepare 2 pools, one of orange by mixing the color with water, and another pool of vermilion red. So once the masking fluid dries, we can begin our washes in watercolors. But if you want to do a pen and wash, I suggest you use a smooth watercolor paper and not a matte or rough watercolor paper, because on that your pen and ink will not move so well. So here I go, starting off with a light wash of orange to begin with. And let's say we begin the first one, where I just apply a mild wash of orange, often doing a little softening. As I said earlier, these forms of Ganesha are not very precise or accurate. They are rather very irregular kind of stones, and therefore they become easier to paint. All you have to do is just let loose those colors and do softening here and there to indicate light falling on the Ganesha forms and blending the vermilion red wet in wet. I'm almost done with my Ganapati number 1, which is from Ozer. Next, I take up the one from Siddhatek, where I follow the same procedure, application of loose orange here and there. The interesting part in this exercise is that I don't have to worry about the whites. The whites have already been preserved well in advance by the application of the masking fluid. I just go on dropping red into orange, occasionally softening the colors here and there, and just enjoy my loose watercolors. That finishes the second one. Then I go to the one from Mahad. Same way, apply some orange, do a little softening at the top, apply some orange, now this one has peculiarly a pointed trunk. The bulging tummy, then wet in wet, let loose some red which will bleed here and there. Applying water sometimes. Orange again. Some red. Some water. My third one is almost ready. The next is from Theur. These are different pilgrim places where these Ganesha idols are located and visited by a number of people from all over India and abroad. With lot of faith and enthusiasm. The next is a rather very irregular kind of a form, not very distinct. As such, none of them is very distinct, but this is a little more irregular one, that is from Lenyadri. Initially, it becomes even difficult to notice the shapes and the forms, but then ultimately it boils down to only adding washes, allowing colors to bleed into one another, doing some softening here and there, and probably it is the second part of this attempt, that is the pen drawings, which may breathe some life into these irregular forms and shapes. So the one from Lenyadri, now from a place called Morgaon. Softened. Red added. So a very wonderful application of some of the fundamental brush strokes and basic washes in watercolors. If you haven't, you may please refer to my video on this topic on basic washes and fundamental brush strokes done earlier. On watching that, this may become more interesting for you, as you will know what has been done at each step here. The next is from Ranjangaon. And the last one is from a place called Pali. Now, interestingly, this is the one who wears a crown, a golden crown, and a crown isn't seen in other forms of the Ashtavinayak. I use the gamboge hue, which is a chrome yellow kind of a color, to indicate the crown. Now, having done all of these, I allow them to dry completely for quite some time. Now, this is how they look upon drying. A very, very interesting development has taken place. After allowing these wet in wet washes to dry, the colors have blended into one another and created some very odd looking patterns. These are called backruns. Now, generally, the backruns are considered as the enemy of the watercolorist. But here is an advantage where these backruns are now creating a wonderful stony kind of an appearance, which is going to be of a lot of advantage to us. And this is the phenomenon which will not occur in other mediums like acrylics and oils. Backruns are not necessarily the enemy of the watercolorist. They can be of use in certain places, as you will see as we proceed. Now, having done this, I'm going to prepare a mixture of mauve and just spread it around here and there to make it look more colorful. I apply the mauve as a flat irregular wash all over. I just loosen the wash on the edges. So having applied the mauve randomly all over and in between the Ganesha forms, I allow it to dry, and after that I begin my pen drawing. I use a black gel pen which contains black waterproof ink, and I begin drawing with my ink pen one by one. So the one ready is from the place called Ozer. Then I begin the next. This one is from Siddha Take. So now I have completed the pen and ink work on top of my watercolor washes. Now I make use of my finger to rub out the masking fluid which has dried, and this in return will give me some white spots. Which I can utilize as highlights. So that completes my 8 Ganeshas, that is the ASHTA VINAYAK. Now I remove the masking tape which I have applied. To get back the white paper on which I can write something. So that completes my ASHTA VINAYAK. I hope you have liked this video, and if you have liked it, please touch the like button, share this video with your friends and groups, and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for watching the video.